As I'm getting older, chip upon my shoulder, rolling through life, you roll over and die. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, oh.
Hey guys, it's Streed, and today I'm going to be reviewing John Trent's Sunday in the Country. This film has been on my list for quite a while now, and I had been in the mood for a suspenseful under-siege thriller, so I finally gave it a watch on yet another quiet day, and I was left with some mixed thoughts. It's a very competently made picture, nowhere near what I'd consider bad, but I felt it lacked a certain spark. It had all the ingredients of a thrilling, suspenseful under-siege drama, but in terms of partial characterization and pacing, the film could have been much better, and I can't help but feel that much of its potential was sadly squandered. As for the positives, Ernest Borgnine carries this film on his shoulders. His acting is magnificent, and his character Adam Smith is quite interesting. He's a patriarchal, religious, and traditional man whose morals slowly begin to slip away as he derives pleasure from sadistically tormenting the robbers, thus making him no better than them. Borgnine plays this role beautifully, and he's very believable as a devout Christian who allows vengeance to corrode his soul. Speaking of which, this film heavily reminded me of the British film Revenge. In both films, the man of the house torments and traps the evildoers in a basement, and both men slowly succumb to the allure of sadism, making the audience question who the villain and hero truly are. For the first half at least, the film has a very palpable sense of tension. Unfortunately, this tension pretty much disappears after one of the robbers, Donnelly, is shot dead in a pretty brutal scene. Probably my favorite scene. The soundtrack is an aspect I'm quite mixed about as well. It strengthens the film's mood and atmosphere, but it's also very overbearing in a lot of scenes that would have benefited from silence. As for the negatives, there's some horrendous ADR here and there that's very noticeable, particularly in the scene where the robbers are bickering amongst themselves. The robbers are also very bland and underwritten. They don't have as much individual personality as, say, the thieves in The Taking of Pelham 123, aside from maybe Leroy, who's an annoying prick that I couldn't stand. He's practically this film's Mr. Grey, but completely insufferable. I don't mind the actor Michael J. Pollard, but I felt his performance here was a mixture of hammy and phoned in. I could definitely see someone like Zalman King doing a far better job at portraying the non-compos mentis character of the group. Random note, but I'm almost 99% sure that Leroy was wearing panties. Like I mentioned, it really began to drag after the death of Donnelly, with most of the runtime being dedicated to Adam taunting the robbers, trying to justify his actions to his granddaughter Lucy, and the robbers themselves barely doing anything. I wouldn't classify this film as boring, but it got very close in the middle. I didn't care for the ending either. It was also pretty anticlimactic and drug out. Overall, Sunday in the Country is an aggressively middling under-siege drama. Probably not something I'd watch again, but it's a fine enough time killer with some alluring grit, but not enough to make it interesting or memorable. 6 out of 10.